Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Pretty close. How are you? Pretty shut.
He's all dressed up today.
President Trump, what's your message to Vladimir Putin, sir? President Trump, you got enough. President Trump, you got enough.
Thank you very much.
Fucking, I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? There's some serious shit about to go down, especially tomorrow night. You have to understand, they're releasing these Epstein files in the midst of all of these planets aligning. I know that sounds stupid, but just hear me out. There are methods that exist, regardless of how you want to feel about it, that allow certain actions to go unnoticed. It allows for these individuals that are obviously on that list and their lives to go untouched. They know exactly what they're doing. Why do you think that there's a phase 1? They know how fucking gullible so many of you are. And I want you to focus on what's going on behind the scenes. So many people are so gullible, especially in America, and they are not capable of keeping up with two things at one time. And this one thing just so happens to be one specific thing that so many of us want to know more information about. Even though obviously so many of us know about that information to begin with, we want it to be publicly addressed. But there is some serious fucking shit going on behind closed doors, especially in New York City right now. And people like Kash Patel know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So much hidden history that none of our leaders want to talk about. I tried telling people over a month ago, watch and focus on when the list is going to be released. Because then the true colors will finally be seen. But the part that so many of you don't understand is you can't actually see those colors to begin with because you're so focused on not seeing these individuals in a negative perspective. There are two sides to the same coin. And while these planets are in the midst of aligning, an empire of the deceived is being created in the process. And at this point, we've already been captured. We've already been obtained by what we should consider to be our adversary and sold off to the highest fucking bidder. I was forced to make a video without being able to provide any clarification at all. And now there doesn't even feel like there's any point of even providing that clarification to begin with. All I ask you to do at this point is just question the information of which you receive.
Question the information that you receive. A cryptic message from Beauty Mark. Think there's a lot going on, including this planetary alignment. I agree, there's a lot of people who's just completely in the dark.
What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
That.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
a lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today,
meeting, have you said thank
even
you?
Today.
You went.
But we will feel it. I don't like that. Shout out to President Trump and JD Vance. Straight up. Like, yo, don't tell us that. I'm trying to help you out. looking for a ceasefire, stop bloodshed. Like, let's end this, let's move forward.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up this White House meeting in a nutshell and keep up, okay? Because I'm going to go kind of fast. Well, what happened? Zelensky decided he wanted to invite the media in, and Donald J. Trump and Vance was like, that's fine. We ain't got nothing to hide. We don't know why you want the media in here in our meeting, but okay, that's fine. We don't care. So the media was there, so we saw the whole thing unfold. What really happens behind closed doors when you see them presidents and leaders really negotiating and going back and forth, that's really what be happening behind closed doors. It's not nice. It's not pretty. Okay, I digress. So everyone was there, so they got to witness it. And they were basically saying, Trump said, look, we want a ceasefire. We want peace talks, all of that. But what's going to happen, you're going to give us a stake in your minerals. Because we've sent you a lot of money. We sent you troops to a war that you knew you weren't going to win. So in order to kind of even the field, kind of get that back, how about you just give us a stake in your minerals? Well, Zelensky started kind of talking with a little air in his chest. I think he had a lot of pride. I think that's what it was. And Vance kind of shut that shit down. Vance started asking him questions like, come on, man, we done did all this for you. He said, you kind of arrogant. You got a lot of air in your chest and you ain't even said thank you. We basically done saved you and you ain't even said thank you. You real arrogant around here. That's basically what Vance was saying. So Zelensky kind of decided he wanted to talk even more greasy, right? So he went to talking, and then at the end he said, and you gonna feel it too. That's when Trump stepped in and was like, ho, player, wait a minute. You ain't even in a position to tell us shit. You can't tell us what we gonna feel, because in the card game where we playing cards, you ain't even got no cards. If it weren't for us, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. And Trump said out his mouth, he said, that stupid ass president, he didn't say stupid ass, but he said stupid. He said that stupid president sent you all of that money and sent you them troops. They kept talking, and Trump was like, let's stop that right now. We just gonna stop with you telling us what we gonna feel, because you ain't in a position to tell us shit. All right, fast forward. They kept talking. They kept going back and forth. Trump said, look, you toying around with World War III here. We trying to give you some peace talks. We trying to get a ceasefire going on around here. And you walking up in here with the air in your chest. Like, what's going on, my guy? He kept talking greasy, and Trump said, look, if it weren't for what we sent you, you wouldn't have lasted 2 weeks against Putin. He said, I done talked to Putin. Putin ready for a ceasefire. What's your problem? When he said, you wouldn't last 2 weeks against Putin, he gonna double down. Zelensky gonna double down and say, Putin said we wouldn't last 3 days. Donald Trump shot back and said, you wouldn't even lasted that long. At the end of it all, because he had so much air in his chest and so arrogant, Donald Trump said, all right, you can leave, player, but don't call us back until you're ready for a ceasefire or talk some peace or do some negotiating, because this what you doing. He said, you're not going to last, and you probably going to start World War III. So get your head right, player, and come back and holler at us.
Thank you for the breakdown. Shout outs to Kay Bennett. Like, hell broke loose up in that Oval Office. The news came out of nowhere, and I'm like, what's going on? But the way she explained it, it seems that he invited the media in. I think that was the first red flag of, hey, this might not end well. Just seeing bits and pieces of it, you just want to learn what really happened, And I peeped that too when he said, we're going to feel it too with our waters. Like, yo, what that's supposed to mean? Dig? You got some inside information or something? Something I don't know about? That's the vibe he gave me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below.
Here's my take on the Trump Vance Zelensky great TV interview that was just put up. That was one of the best things I've seen in years. One of the parts that stuck out, and let me know what you guys think about this. You have no soldiers. Vance tells Zelensky, you have no soldiers. And I bring that up because we just heard 27 countries were sending him billions, in Canada too, like another 5 billion. It's important to understand that they don't just take the Russian oligarch money that they seized and give it to Zelensky. They feed it into their war machine at home, and then they say, well, we'll send you ammunition and weapons, but you have no soldiers. You have no soldiers, so why are they giving billions in ammunition and in weaponry to the country that doesn't have any soldiers to fight it? That was one takeaway. When Zelensky says, have you even been to Ukraine? And Vance tells him, for what? So you can take me on a propaganda tour like you do every leader or actor that goes there? This, you show them the same shit over and over. What I want to go see that for? I'm not going to gain anything from it. Those are my takeaways, my opinions. I love that part. Was that a threat when he calls out and says, you have a beautiful ocean that separates you from everything? And Trump tells him, because Zelensky follows that up with, but you'll feel it soon. And Trump says, you don't tell us what we're going to feel. Is that a threat? What do you guys think? Let's talk about that in the comments. And the fact that they call him out, the most important thing, biggest takeaway I got from that was he don't care if this goes on for decades. He understands how the war machine works. He understands that 10, 15, 20 years, if it went that long, he would just be getting checks. He'd just be getting money. And that's all. He has no respect for human life, even his soldiers, or possibly the world. Why? Because he's flirting with World War III and doesn't give two shits. As long as he keeps cashing those checks, that's all that fucking matters. That's my biggest takeaway from watching him on TV, was which I already knew, right? But to watch it, it was just like, okay, this guy doesn't give a shit. You don't give two shits. He'd keep this going forever. And then when they called them out, Vance called them out and says, you're here disrespecting the president of the United States. They're raising their voices. There was a lot of overtalk. If you haven't seen it, go find it. And then he goes, but you were on the campaign trail with the other side, just trying to get some a Ukraine tour to get some more money. And now you're here begging for more money with the president that you were campaigning against to his face. Loved it. What are you guys' thoughts?
To be honest, I totally agree. It feels like this man doesn't want to end that war. It's like, once I agree, once Zelensky made that comment about our waters, it felt like a threat. Like I said, man, like, what kind of information you got? What you know? What you talking about? Come on, man. Can't be asking for stuff and making threats at the same time. It don't work like that.
So let me see if I understand what actually led to the fight that happened in the Oval Office today, which was really pretty wild. It was a lot of fun to watch. So a week and a half ago, Bessent goes to Kyiv to have a negotiation about this rare earth minerals deal, and Zelensky oversleeps and was unavailable and was about 30-ish minutes late. Why is Zelensky trying to play these weird tactics in this negotiation when he has no cards at all? You're just going to disrespect our chief negotiator, that President Trump, the special envoy that's going out there? So that's number one. Number two, he shows up wearing like a jumpsuit, like the guy is getting ready to go do an obstacle course somewhere. No suit at all. Put on a suit and tie when you walk into the White House. What are you doing? And then when he's there, he specifically requests to go out in front of the American people and have this conversation when he's there to sign a rare earth minerals deal so that the U.S. would continue to fund, so that we're actually getting something back out of this deal instead of him just sucking money away from U.S. taxpayers. We want to get something back in return because Europe is getting their money back. We're not. So we got a deal that's set up. And instead of signing the deal and completely embarrassing our Secretary of State, who assured the president that the deal was done, Zelensky goes out there and blows it all up because he thinks that he has the negotiating position to get U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine and European boots on the ground in Ukraine to fight a kinetic war against the Russians. Because that's what happened today. That's what you saw happen. You saw a dictator, Vladimir Zelensky, who canceled elections, has outlawed oppositional political parties, has jailed his political opponents, has outlawed particular religions that he doesn't agree with in his country, who knows the longer this war goes on, the more money he gets to soak out of U.S. taxpayers. He came here to blow this up because he thinks that the deep state, the Victoria Nulands of the United States deep state, is going to continue the gravy train and the grift and the cash flow going there for him and all of their friends to get rich off of. And President Trump said, we're done. We are done. We are not continuing to fund a war you can't win.
Shout out to Gnome Plume 1.0. Giving us a good breakdown. It's a good point of view right here. Feels like they sabotaged the deal.
Are we enjoying the show? Things are about to change right in front of us, and I'll elaborate on that in 1 minute. So why am I calling what happened right behind me a show? Let's look a little bit deeper.
Second question for President Zelensky. Do you ever, why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting.
I don't have such.
So the meeting started off with them talking crap to him because he's not wearing a suit, meaning they were under the influence that we're going to give this guy a hard time. Do people really care if they wear suits? This video is meant to be satirical. No, they don't. Especially when you invite a visitor from a different country, you're not going to expect them to dress how you dress. So that right there was a clear indication that something else is afoot. Now we have this dude who has always been for and voting for all the bullcrap to keep this stuff going.
What I think? Complete, utter disaster.
So you might ask, where is this going? Well, every country is taking their side. Of course, this is my opinion for entertainment purposes. So if you want to ask me my opinion, I think that these guys right here are about to dominate over there. By the way, this just happened. This was the bear country doubting the national missions that happened decades ago. Weird. And now, of course, this happens today, the day right after these documents were dropped. And if you look behind me and see the documents that were dropped, we had more information years ago than we got yesterday. Literally more things were blanked out. Not to mention the influencer photo shoot. And y'all were really saying, we are so back. Nothing has changed. In fact, I'd say it's about to get a lot worse. But what do I know?
May not agree with everything, but I totally feel where he's coming from. Shout outs to the real Moon Henry. Like, everyone can admit it was very entertaining. The thing with Elon is that he's not a political leader of a country. But yeah, it's crazy when it comes to these files. We know more back then than what they just dropped. Everything's blacked out. Everything's redacted. Between him and Beauty Mark, I get where they both coming from.
I hope y'all understand that the only reason President Trump and J.D. Vance were rude to Zelensky was that Zelensky didn't bring the one fucking thing he was told to bring to this meeting. And that was a plan for peace. No, instead he just talked shit, told us the war was going to be on our doorstep soon, and expected us to cut another fucking check. Let me explain something. I'm going to say it real fucking slow for the liberals in the back. Ukraine's military cannot defeat Russia. It does not matter how much money we or the EU give them. They cannot defeat Russia, which means this only ends one of two fucking ways. Russia conquers Ukraine, or Ukraine sues for peace. And I'm sure there's some of you going to be in my comment of Ukraine can defeat them. Okay, good. That if Ukraine can defeat Russia, if you're one of these fucking delusional Americans that thinks Ukraine's military can actually defeat Russia, then stop pretending that Russia's military is a challenge for the United States. If you think Ukraine can defeat them, stop pretending that we need to keep spending trillions of dollars to develop new military to make sure we're safe from the Russians. If Ukraine can defeat them, they are not an enemy of ours. If Ukraine can defeat them just with funding from us, we don't need to worry. Either Russia is one of the biggest, strongest, baddest fucking militaries on the planet, as our intelligence agencies keep telling us, and that's why we need to spend trillions to build new fucking planes, new tanks, new technology, new missiles, or they could be defeated by Ukraine. Like, y'all aren't fucking thinking this through. Like, just sheer fucking numbers. Ukraine cannot defeat Russia. We need to stop pretending like they can. Zelensky needed to show up with a path forward for peace. But he didn't. He showed up just wanting more money because Zelensky doesn't want the war to end. Because if the war ends, he loses all his power. He doesn't have his whole country under martial law anymore. He actually has to have an election. He actually has to have a media that can question his decision. He actually has to allow political opponents to campaign against him. And he doesn't want to go back to dancing on fucking television shows. They were rude to Zelensky because he didn't do his fucking homework. He didn't do the one thing they asked him to do, and that is plan for peace. All he wanted was another check so he could continue the fucking war. A war he cannot win. Get that through your fucking heads.
I agree. Shout outs to the new older millennial. Man, they don't have a chance. The best path forward is a path for peace. Totally agree. No more money.
They are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing cards.
Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and your
voted
men
for
are
your
brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
that there,
to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very
I understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
is-
with me.
It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that
is
was with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you check this one right here. Thanks again. Till next time.